Hey guys, Leah here with the Ode to Paper for the Pinspiration collaboration for February. I am going to work on this page maps sketch from 2018. It looks like it is made for an 8.5 by 11 or a 9 by 12. I'm actually going to create a 12 by 12 layout and I'm going to flip the sketch. So I'm working with the H2KAKWS Wolfpack paper, which is absolutely like so yummy, this paper. I don't have many sheets. I think I have two page kits total that I created with the sheets that I was able to get, and I absolutely love it. And I'm going to scrap some photos of my grandson playing out on the frozen lake. And yeah, and I mean, H2KAKWS is, this paper is called Wolfpack, but there are bears on it as well, which I really used quite heavily in this layout because we call him Cocoa Bear. His name is Colton, but we call him Cocoa Bear. So the bear theme in this collection just worked perfectly. So I am going to, I don't know why I didn't edit this part out, but that's okay. So I'm going to get everything cut out and decide where I'm going to go. Have my photos matted, cut down, and I'm trying to decide which paper I want for my background, which paper I want for the big block of paper. And right now, I haven't decided yet that I'm going to flip the sketch, but I do that very shortly. So I decide to use this large polka dot paper for my background, and this was the spotted paper. And I'm going to use this wood grain for the block of paper that, you know, takes up the bulk of the layout. But I also want to fussy cut those bears on the back. So right now I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to cut this paper so that I can have some bears to fussy cut. So I decide to go with a 6-inch strip. And I'm just going to cut roughly 1.5 inches, throw 3 inches roughly off of it so that I have this block. So I'm now just kind of placing it, looking to see if I need to trim anything else out. I need a tag. So what I'm going to do is take the 4x4 cutouts that are on the back of this other checkerboard, and I'm going to cut the Starry Sky one off, and I'm going to cut it down to a tag so that I can use that checkerboard. That's the paper I'm aiming for. So there's my tag piece, and I'm going to take a look and see. Now in the sketch, there's those hearts. I'm not going to put the hearts. That's where I'm going to fussy cut the bears and put them down. So I'm still playing around with the sketch as is. I haven't decided yet to flip it, but I do that once I get the bears, start cutting the bears out, I realize they're all facing the other way. So I cut them out. They're so cute. And it was so appropriate for these pictures of Colton. So I decide to flip the sketch and put everything, the bulk of it, on the right-hand side so that the bears are facing in towards Colton. I get my tag, the shape cut where I want it, put the hole in it. I have the bears where I think they're going to go, but I'm not positive on that. So now I'm going to focus on the strips of paper that are underneath where the bears are. So I'm going to cut roughly 1 inch off of this checkerboard paper, and I'm going to rip it to give it some texture. So it's going to sit behind the bears, and it actually ends up over top of the wood grain paper. So I'm going to tear that up, take a look and see how long I want it to be. And once I get that done, I'm going to look through my washi tape to kind of build up those little strips. Now in the sketch, there are 2 strips of paper, and I decide to go with a strip of paper and 2 different washi tapes. So I like how that looks behind the bears. It just lets them stand out a little bit more and also lends more to following this sketch. Now, I go and I choose all of my washi tapes here in just a moment. It takes me a few minutes to look through them all, but I'm going to get my paper stuck down and start committing to where I want placements to be, because once I pull out the washi tape and put them down, then everything pretty much has to be where it needs to be. I kind of hem and haw about putting this underneath the paper, decide I like it better on top because I don't really like those sharp corners of the big block of wood grain paper. So I'm going to put this down on top. I have to use my T-square ruler because if I don't, it does not end up straight or square. Yeah, some people have that ability. I generally do not. So I choose this washi tape, which is one that I got from a pack on Amazon. I absolutely love these packs. They're just phenomenal. They're gorgeous washi tapes. I think they come from China or something, but they're still beautiful. So I get that one down, and then I had chosen this thinner one, and it's a Tim Holtz one. It's kind of got a little mosaic pattern on it, but it's got the blue in it, which I really wanted to pull in from the background and from that checkerboard. And there's a lot of blue in the photo, the photos of Colton. So I'll get those down. I'm going to start to commit to the placement of my photos and the tag, and I'm going to end up cutting that tag in half and stretching it behind that smaller photo. And then I also tuck it in a little bit behind the bigger photo so that it just kind of pulls everything together instead of having that empty space in between the tag and the larger photo. I pop up the small one. I'm going to commit to the large one here, and I do end up moving it around a little bit because I put it down at the start too low. So once I try to put the smaller one on, then I realize it's low and it's sticking off of the wood grain paper too much. So I move the big one up. I cut that tag in half so I can stretch it behind the small one. I do like how that turned out. So it kind of frames the little one, and the little one is popped up on foam tape as well. So the small photo really stands out. He's so cute. He's just got this little button nose that's just adorable. And of course it's wintertime here, so his nose is red, and he actually, in these photos, looks identical to how Haley looked at that age. I have a photo of her with a hat on like that, and her nose is all red. I like to do actually a layout of the two of them. So one of these pictures of Colton, and then that picture of Haley as well. And I'd like to do a combined layout with the two photos. I think that would be hilarious. But they do look so much alike, which is funny because Colton looks identical to his dad. So we always call him the little Tyler. So I have some jute I've put into my hole on my tag. I've glued it down the ends of it so it doesn't, fly around. And I'm looking at pulling in which letters. I'm looking at my titles, and I look at this Wander and this card that says, I can't remember what it says, but it's about adventures. Anyways, I like the word adventures. So I do end up going with that, and I'm going to pull in these thickers that are a burlap covered chipboard. So they're called Eric, and they're fairly old. There's not even, 2012, yes. But I do love them. They're fabulous. I have 2 packs, so I've been working through those as well. So my title is going to be Bear Adventures, because of course we call him Cocoa Bear. And he loves an adventure. He always goes on hikes with his mom and dad, and they love trails and stuff like that. So Bear Adventures was very, very fitting for him. So I placed my title down, and once I realized that I'm going to use the Adventures is cut. It's not, all the letters aren't one size. They go from smaller and gradually get larger. So it's kind of, it's not an easy one to just place underneath the letters. That doesn't line up properly. But then I realized once I cut it out that I could layer the bear on top of Adventures, and it worked out great. However, when I go to lift up my letters to tuck the adventures underneath, I pull them apart. They're on there. I thought maybe I could just pull them up, but no, they're on there. So the burlap and the chipboard actually separates, which is no big deal. I pull them off and I glue them right back down right where they were, but just with adventures tucked underneath. So it works out perfectly fine. And you'll see it's very hard to get adventures to fit, to nestle in there like you like to do with your. And there I am, and yes, the R just totally separates on me, but that's okay. So I get them stuck down with my favorite glue, which is the Art Glitter Glue. And I'm lining up the bottom of Adventures with one of the lines on the wood grain paper to try and get it straight, because I just didn't feel like bringing my T-square ruler out again. And it's sitting right there, but I got lazy. And so I get those stuck on, and I realize I need to have some more jute on this page, butcher twine, jute, whatever you want to call it. And in this sketch, there's a circular string element around the title. So I try to pull that together, but it's just not looking right. It would have been way too big for the page to layer up a couple of, rounds of this jute. And then I decide I'm going to string it down between the bears to tie in the two sides of the sheet together. And I really like how that looks. So it's kind of tying the bears together as well as tying in the jute that's off the tag. So I tie a little bow. I have that gluing underneath my can of jute there. And I also have these Heidi Swa Wolfpack puffy stickers, which are absolutely stinking adorable. And I pull out some of the hearts, some of the little tiny circles, the one that I just put down that says, I'm loving this view. I pull out some of the bears and some of the paw prints. So, you can't have a bear without a paw print. So I have a few of those stuck down. And I do end up with small clusters, but nothing major. There's one up by the bow. There's one, around the title. And then there's one down around the smaller picture. And to be honest, I had a whole bunch of elements and embellishments put together for this kit. I ignored it. I totally forgot about it. I was so happy with the stickers, the letters, the little words that I have in there that I didn't feel that it needed anything else. This paper is so gorgeous that you don't have to do a lot of embellishing with it. It just kind of speaks for itself. And it's still, the photos are still the star of the show, but the paper just makes it. It just totally makes it. So, and that's it. I'm going to draw my lines for my journaling and get that down. And my journaling says, Coco Bear loves adventure. This was a trip to Mission Island in January of 2021, playing on frozen Lake Superior. They had the dogs with them too, so the dogs were out running around, and they just had a grand old time, hanging out, getting some fresh air. Of course, we've been in lockdown here for months, so to go and hang out on the lake and just have some fun and get some fresh air was a great idea. Yeah, so I do my lines in a gray marker just so they blend in a little bit, but I do my journaling in a black marker. And that's all there is to it. These little ends of the jute gave me some trouble, so I end up adding some glue and just tucking them under the bear so they don't have a harsh end. They look like they're actually going back around. And yeah, I get my journaling down, and that's it for this layout. This was one of those layouts that just kind of seemed to make itself. It wasn't hard to decide where to put things, except for, before I realized I had to flip the sketch. But other than that, everything kind of placed itself. It was super easy. Page map sketches are fabulous for that. It just makes things so easy. I will have a link down below to the other participants in this collaboration. Thank you to Creations by Kimber, who hosts this collaboration. And I participated last year too, and I absolutely enjoyed it. So I will have another one up for you next month with another sketch from my Pinterest board. And yeah, that's everything. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.